Welcome back to Celestial Scrolls, where ancient Chinese legends come to life through storytelling. Today, we continue our journey with Tang Sanzang and his three extraordinary disciples as they face one of their most mind-bending challenges yet in episode 25, the Desert of Forgetfulness. Having just left the mystical plains of whispered prayers, our heroes now confront a barren wasteland that doesn't just drain their bodies, it erases their very memories and purpose. Watch as Bajie struggles to remember even his own name, while the ever-resourceful Tang Sanzang must use the magical seeds gifted by Elder Dorje to create a living path through the shifting sands. But the true wonder awaits when the magnificent keeper of lost memories, a dragon unlike any they've encountered before, descends from the night sky to reveal the true purpose of this strange realm and offer guidance for the challenges that lie ahead in the mountains of accumulation. This episode explores the profound Buddhist themes of memory, purpose, and the power of intention, all wrapped in the magical adventure you've come to love from our Journey to the West series. Subscribe now if you haven't already, and join us as we continue this legendary pilgrimage to the Western Paradise. And don't forget to ring that notification bell. The mountains of accumulation await in our next installment. The transition from the Whispering Plains to the Desert of Forgetfulness was not abrupt, but gradual, like the fading of a memory itself. First came scattered patches of sand between thinning grasses, then larger stretches where only the hardiest shrubs clung to existence. By late afternoon, Tang Sanzang and his disciples found themselves surrounded by an ocean of golden dunes that stretched endlessly toward the horizon. "Master, the air grows strange here," observed Sha Wujing, his fish-like features creasing with concern. "It feels empty, somehow." Tang Sanzang nodded, experiencing the same peculiar sensation, as if the desert absorbed not just moisture but thought itself. He reached for the jade box containing the lotus seedling, finding comfort in its subtle warmth. "Remember Elder Dorje's warning," he cautioned his disciples. "This desert seeks to strip away our memories and purpose. We must remain vigilant and keep our sacred mission at the forefront of our minds." Wukong, perched atop his staff as he surveyed the terrain, snorted dismissively. "A minor obstacle. My mind was forged in the crucible of heaven's punishments. No earthly desert can erase what I am." "Don't be so confident, brother," Bajie admonished, wiping sweat from his porcine brow. "I already feel a curious lightness in my thoughts, as if—" His eyes grew momentarily vacant before he shook his head vigorously. "As if something important is slipping away." Tang Sanzang felt a flutter of concern. "The water from the plains people. Each of you take a small sip now." He watched carefully as his disciples followed his instruction, noting how clarity returned to their eyes, especially Bajie's. "We must use it sparingly," he cautioned. "The journey across may take several days." As the sun began its descent, casting long shadows across the rippled sand, they sought a suitable location to make camp. Without trees or rocks for shelter, they fashioned crude windbreaks from their traveling packs and the white horse's saddle. "No firewood here," Bajie lamented. "Cold comfort and colder food tonight." "Be grateful for what provisions we have," Tang Sanzang gently chided. "The plains people were generous with their stores." As darkness enveloped them, the desert revealed its true nature. The temperature plummeted, transforming the scorching landscape into a realm of bitter cold. More unsettling still was the absolute silence, a vacancy of sound so complete it seemed to press against their eardrums. "The whispering prayers are gone," Tang Sanzang remarked softly. "Listen, nothing. Not even the sound of wind, though I feel it against my skin," added Sha Wujing, pulling his robes tighter. Wukong paced restlessly around their small camp, his sharp eyes penetrating the darkness. "There's something else missing. The stars, they don't move." The others looked up to confirm this strange observation. Indeed, the night sky, though filled with stars, seemed frozen, a painted backdrop rather than the ever-turning celestial wheel they knew. "Time itself behaves differently here," Tang Sanzang murmured. "Another way the desert attempts to disorient us." They huddled closer together, sharing warmth and reassurance in the face of the desert's uncanny emptiness. Before retiring to fitful sleep, Tang Sanzang opened the jade box. The lotus seedling inside now had 9 delicate leaves, each emitting a faint luminescence that provided the only real light in their camp. "It continues to grow, drawing strength from truth and pure intention," he told his disciples. "Let us meditate briefly on our purpose to anchor it firmly in our minds before sleep." Together, they recited the Heart Sutra, their voices sounding strangely muffled in the desert air. Even so, Tang Sanzang felt the lotus respond, its glow intensifying with each sacred word. Dawn brought no birdsong, no gradual lightening of the sky, merely an abrupt transition from darkness to harsh brilliance as the sun appeared suddenly above the horizon. Tang Sanzang awoke with a disorienting sense of displacement, momentarily unable to recall how or why they had come to this barren place. Then his hand touched the jade box at his side, and clarity returned like cool water washing over his consciousness. "Disciples, awaken!" he called urgently. "The desert's influence grows stronger." Wukong sprang up instantly, his remarkable mind seemingly unaffected. Sha Wujing rose more slowly, confusion evident in his expression, until he deliberately focused on Tang Sanzang's face. "Master," he acknowledged, but with less certainty than usual. Bajie, however, remained curled on his side, snoring contentedly. When Wukong nudged him roughly with his staff, the pig demon blinked awake with no recognition in his eyes. "Who are you people?" he demanded, scrambling backward in alarm. "Where am I? What strange creatures are you?" "It's us, idiot!" Wukong snapped. "Your fellow disciples. Don't you recognize your own master?" Tang Sanzang approached carefully, holding out the water skin from the plains people. "Drink, Bajie. Just a small sip." The confused disciple accepted the water hesitantly. As the liquid passed his lips, awareness gradually returned to his features. "Oh, forgive me, Master," Bajie said, embarrassment coloring his tone. "For a moment I couldn't remember anything, not even my own name." "The desert's power grows stronger the longer we remain," Tang Sanzang observed. "We must press onward with all possible speed." They packed their meager camp quickly and resumed their westward journey. The white horse seemed least affected by the desert's strange influence, maintaining its steady pace despite the shifting sands that made walking difficult for the others. As the merciless sun climbed higher, they encountered the first of many mirages. tantalizing visions of pools and streams that evaporated as they approached, or phantom travelers who wavered and dissolved into heat haze. "Do not trust your eyes," warned Tang Sanzang. "The desert speaks in illusions." By midday, even Wukong showed signs of strain, occasionally pausing to shake his head as if clearing cobwebs from his thoughts. Xiao Wujing had grown unnaturally quiet, his gaze fixed on the horizon as if struggling to remember their destination. Bajie muttered constantly to himself, reciting his own name and history like a mantra against forgetting. When they paused briefly to rest and take another precious sip of the plains people's water, Tang Sanzang noticed something troubling. The water level had diminished faster than their careful rationing should have allowed. "The desert consumes even this," he realized aloud. "It thirsts for moisture as it hungers for memory." "Then we should not linger," Wukong declared, helping his master remount the white horse. "Keep moving west, always west." Yet even this simple directive proved challenging as the afternoon wore on. The sun's position, which should have provided reliable orientation, seemed to shift erratically. Dunes that they had surely passed appeared again before them, creating the disturbing sensation of walking in circles despite their best efforts. It was Xiao Wujing who first noticed the footprints, a set of tracks that matched their own, yet couldn't possibly be theirs. "Master, look," he called, pointing to the telltale impressions in the sand. "4 travelers and a horse, just like us." They gathered around the discovery, studying the tracks with growing unease. "These are fresh," Wukong observed, touching the sand. "Made within the hour." "But we've been traveling for—" Bajie began, then frowned deeply. "How long have we been traveling? I can't seem to recall when we entered this accursed place." Tang Sanzang felt a cold certainty settle over him. "These are our own tracks. We are indeed walking in circles, just as Elder Dorje warned happens to those who lose their purpose here." "Impossible!" Wukong protested. "I've been watching our direction carefully." Tang Sanzang removed the jade box from his satchel and opened it. The lotus seedling inside appeared slightly wilted, its luminescence dimmer than before. "The desert affects even this symbol of truth," he said gravely. "We must try something different." Remembering Dorje's parting gift, Tang Sanzang withdrew the small pouch of seeds. "The elder told me to scatter these in places of desolation. Perhaps they will guide our way." Taking a single seed between his fingers, Tang Sanzang closed his eyes and recited a brief blessing before casting it onto the sand. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, impossibly, a tender green shoot pushed upward from the barren ground, unfurling tiny leaves that seemed to drink the sunlight. "A miracle!" Bajie exclaimed. "No," Tang Sanzang corrected gently. "Simply the power of intention manifesting. Remember the plains of whispered prayers, how an entire ecosystem grew from the concentrated faith of pilgrims." He cast another seed some distance ahead, watching as it too sprouted almost immediately. "We will make our own path through the desert's deceptions." Seed by seed, they created a trail of improbable life across the shifting sands. Each new sprout seemed to strengthen not only their sense of direction, but also their memories, as if the growing plant somehow countered the desert's power to erode the mind. The lotus seedling in the jade box responded as well, its leaves gradually regaining their vibrant color and luminescence. Tang Sanzang noticed that the plants grew strongest when facing true west, their delicate stems bending slightly to indicate the correct path. "The seeds know our destination," he realized aloud. "They orient toward Buddha's paradise just as the plains people do in their daily lives." By evening, they had made significant progress, creating an emerald trail through the golden wasteland. The tiny plants not only marked their path, but also seemed to alter the desert itself in subtle ways. The air near them felt moister, the temperature less extreme, and, most remarkably, sound began to return. At first, it was just the whisper of their own footsteps, no longer swallowed by the sand. Then came the soft rustling of the new plants as they continued to grow, reaching improbable heights in the infertile ground. By nightfall, when they made camp amid a small grove of their own creation, they could even hear a distant rhythmic sound like the beating of great wings. "What is that noise?" Bajie asked, his memory and faculties now fully restored thanks to their vegetative allies. Wukong cocked his head, listening intently. Something approaches from the west. Something large. Tang Sanzang opened the jade box to check on the lotus seedling. It now had 12 leaves, each one perfectly formed and glowing with inner light. More surprisingly, a slender bud had formed at its center, closed tight, but promising eventual bloom. "Whatever comes, we face it together," Tang Sanzang declared, drawing strength from the seedling's resilient growth. "Our path remains clear, our purpose undiminished." The sound grew louder as night deepened around them, a rhythmic whooshing that echoed across the desert, accompanied by an occasional cry unlike any bird or beast they had encountered before. Sha Wu Jing, his night vision keener than the others, was first to spot the source. "Master, look there, against the stars!" A massive form moved across the night sky, a serpentine shape with vast wings that displaced enough air to create the sound they'd been hearing. As it drew nearer, they could make out glinting scales that reflected starlight and a long, elegant head crowned with antlers. "A dragon," Tang Sanzang breathed in wonder, "but not one of the typical 4 kings. This one bears the marks of the western heavens." The magnificent creature circled above them 3 times before descending to land with surprising delicacy among their planted grove. Up close, its true size became apparent, easily as long as 30 men, laid end to end, with wings that could shelter their entire party. Its scales shimmered with iridescent colors that shifted as it moved, and its eyes glowed with an intelligence beyond mortal understanding. When it spoke, its voice resonated in their minds rather than in the air. "Pilgrims of the East," the dragon acknowledged, "you bring life to the realm of forgetting, an unexpected development." Wukong immediately positioned himself protectively before Tang Sanzang, his staff at the ready. "State your intentions, dragon. Are you friend or foe to our westward journey?" The dragon's mental voice carried a note of amusement. "I am neither, awakened one. I am merely the keeper of lost memories." "Explain yourself," Tang Sanzang requested, stepping forward despite Wukong's protective gesture. The dragon lowered its great head to regard Tang Sanzang more closely. This desert exists for a purpose, monk of Tang. It is a testing ground and a repository. All who cross these sands leave behind something of themselves. The memories abandoned here nourish the western heavens. You feed on forgotten experiences? Bajie asked incredulously. Not feed, preserve, the dragon corrected. What is willingly surrendered here becomes part of the greater wisdom that awaits at your journey's end. Nothing truly valuable is lost, merely transformed. Tang Sanzang considered this revelation thoughtfully. Yet we have resisted the desert's power to take our memories. Indeed. The dragon's tail swished, stirring the sand around them. Through these plants, it indicated the growing trail they had created. You have found a way to retain what most surrender. Fascinating. Suddenly, the dragon's attention fixed on the jade box at Tang Sanzang's side. You carry a nascent truth. May I see it? After a moment's hesitation, Tang Sanzang opened the box, revealing the glowing lotus seedling with its 12 leaves and tightly closed bud. The dragon's mental voice grew softer, almost reverent. Ah, now I understand. You were meant to keep your memories intact. The seedling requires the continuity of your experiences to achieve its full potential. What is its full potential? Tang Sanzang asked. That is not for me to reveal, the dragon replied, but I can ease your passage across my domain in service to its growth. Without waiting for a response, the dragon arched its long neck and breathed gently over their grove of plants. The breath was neither fire nor ice, but a shimmering mist that settled on every leaf and stem. Where it touched, the plants grew more vibrant, spreading their roots deeper and broader beneath the sand. By dawn, your path will extend to the desert's western edge, the dragon explained. Follow it without deviation, and you will reach the mountains of accumulation by tomorrow's sunset. Mountains of accumulation, echoed Sha Wujing. What awaits us there? The dragon's eyes gleamed mysteriously, the opposite of forgetting. Where this desert strips away, those mountains gather and concentrate. Prepare yourselves for abundance after scarcity. It began to beat its massive wings, stirring up clouds of sand. One last gift before I depart. From its mouth dropped a single scale, as large as Tang Sanzang's palm and shifting colors like mother of pearl. It landed softly at the monk's feet. When memories overwhelm rather than desert you, when too much crowds your mind rather than too little, place this scale upon the lotus. Balance will be restored. With those cryptic words, the dragon launched itself skyward with surprising grace for a creature of its size. Within moments, it had disappeared into the star-filled darkness, leaving only the distant sound of beating wings. Tang Sanzang carefully retrieved the dragon scale, feeling its unusual texture, neither fully solid nor liquid, but something in between. A most fortuitous encounter, he observed to his disciples, though I sense that the trials ahead may prove even more challenging than those behind us. Mountains of accumulation, Wukong mused. I mislike the sound of that. Too much of anything becomes a burden. Says the monkey who once challenged all of heaven's armies, Bajie quipped, his good humor restored along with his memories. Tang Sanzang settled himself beside the growing plants, drawing comfort from their impossible vitality in this place of barrenness. He placed the jade box among them, noticing how the lotus seedling seemed to respond to their presence, its leaves extending toward them as if in greeting. "Rest now," he instructed his disciples. "Tomorrow we complete our crossing of the Desert of Forgetfulness. Whatever awaits in the mountains of accumulation, we will face it with clear minds and united purpose." As his disciples arranged themselves for sleep, Tang Sanzang remained awake a while longer, contemplating the dragon's words. The lotus seedling continued to glow softly in the darkness, its light mingling with the starshine above to cast gentle shadows across their small sanctuary of green amid the endless sands. "A nascent truth," he whispered to the seedling, growing stronger with each trial overcome. "What will you become when you finally bloom, I wonder?" The bud at the seedling center pulsed once with golden light as if in response to his question. But like many answers on the journey to enlightenment, its true meaning remained veiled, to be revealed only when the pilgrim was fully prepared to comprehend it. Tang Sanzang smiled serenely and closed the jade box, knowing that understanding would come in its proper time. For now, it was enough to have found their path through the desert's deceptions, guided by the simple power of growth and intention. Tomorrow would bring new challenges in the mountains of accumulation, but tonight, in this moment of peaceful respite, Tang Sanzang allowed himself to simply appreciate the miracle of their continued journey, ever westward, ever onward, toward the ultimate truth that awaited at journey's end. And that's the end of episode 25. Our pilgrims have successfully navigated the memory-stealing sands of the Desert of Forgetfulness. But their journey is far from over. What mysteries await in the mountains of accumulation? How will the lotus seedling continue to grow? And what significance does the dragon's scale hold for their quest? We'll be back with episode 26 soon. I can't wait to share the next chapter of this incredible adventure with you. To stay updated, make sure you've subscribed and turned on notifications so you never miss a new installment. Here at Celestial Scrolls, we're committed to bringing these timeless tales to life in all their mystical glory. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments below. Perhaps you have theories about what the lotus seedling will become when it finally blooms. Thank you so much for joining Tang Sanzang and his disciples on their westward journey today. The road to enlightenment is long, but with companions like you along the way, the journey becomes all the more worthwhile. See you next time, fellow travelers.